Okay, this is just to show that, yes, puppies do come and play inside, okay? It's raining at the moment, so we've been outside, and all the puppies have toileted. So I've come back inside, so they've all come back inside. And I just wanted to show you how much they love this brush from my brush and pan. I've got 2 of them, and on a regular basis I find them in the crate, which really tickles me that they've dragged this, you know, really quite big relative to their size brush all the way through. Now, if you don't want them chewing your dustpan and brush, put it somewhere else, but I've kind of left it there on purpose to show you, and because they cost 99p and I like seeing them have fun. Okay, and then as you can see, that's where they'll go into their playpen. They go under there, which has actually been a very good discipline for me, because it means if I want to go in, I climb over the barrier. And it's kind of impossible to stuff puppies in there, so even if I'm frantic, I have to climb into the playpen and I call them in, and then they've always chosen to come in. They've never been forced into there, and consequently they're really happy to go in there when they get tired. But you can spot a few intentional mistakes, like shoes or slippers left on the floor. Basically, if you don't want your puppy to chew it, keep it out the way. But generally, until your dog is house trained, I would advise, that they can play in the house when you're there and you're playing with them, and, I would be looking for signs that my puppy wanted to wee or poop in between playing with them. If they suddenly started doing that, I'm going to poop sniffing, I would gently pick them up and take them outside. And when they're a bit older, you could just go outside and call them. That's not working too well for me, because if I call 1, I call 6. And then they get distracted and, look at Rolo. Feed me, feed me. She says, I can't, there's nothing left. Now, Rouge Sadie at some stage, I hope, is going to tell him off, because that's not very respectful behaviour. So it's quite a good thing we've got Rue, because Rue would not tolerate that, and if Rolo goes to the park and does that, he's going to get told off. The dog will either growl or give a little bark towards them, and then the owner will probably say, oh, sorry, and you say, no, he deserved that. And he does. At the moment, he's riding for a great big telling off. The only reason Sadie isn't doing it because she's just far too nice. I mean, that's why Sadie and me get along so well, because we're very similar. Okay, there goes Rue. Let's see if the puppies all follow them. Nope. That's really good, because they haven't learned to go and bark at the gate, which is not considered very desirable behaviour. Just I'm me and I don't really mind. Hello, Rue. Come on, Rue. You see, Rue stopped because she knows there's a puppy here, and she knows if the puppy's disrespectful to her, she's going to tell it off. Come on, Rue. They're old enough now, Rue, to take a little bit of a... So I don't read Rue as aggressive towards the puppies. I read Rue as really not wanting to be jumped on. I think had puppies of her own, she knows what it's like to be. Hello, George. Hello, George. You're a little cutie. And I've spoken to George's owner about this, but can you see that he's got a lot of tears coming down his face? The black ones have it too, you just can't see it. And I've asked my vet about this, and she says it's common to the point of them all having it. She said it's very common in long-haired dogs. And the theory is that maybe there's a little bit of hair touching the eyeball. I can't see any. My theory is that they're excreting excessive salts, like seabirds do. They kind of, their eyes water to get rid of excessive salt. But basically nobody really knows it's... If you go for walks and you look at small dogs and long-haired dogs, they've all got this. It's not a fault, it's not a health issue, and if you keep the fur around their eyes nicely trimmed, you can see Sadie's got it. There you go, Sadie. Hello. And just kind of wipe it off, get a wet wipe. If you suddenly see green gunk around your puppy's eyes, then you need to go to the vet, because that means they've got a little bacterial infection in your eyes, in their eyes, and you can, bathe it with cotton wool soaked in salty water, teaspoon of water in a cup. Squeeze out your cotton wool and bathe the eyes. But better to go to the vet who'll check that your puppy hasn't kind of scratched its eyeball or something, and then she'll say, oh, it's bacterial, and she'll give you some, antibiotic Fusidin ointment that you put in the eyes, and it clears up straight away. A bit like children getting pink eye. George, hello, little George, little sweetie. Yeah. Hey, George. Can you see he's got healthy eyes? They're just lots of tears down there. He's not crying. Oh, let's see how they cope with Snowy. This is my cat, Snowy. Now, one of my books says the scratching is a calming signal. So that's interesting. It's really worth going up on the internet and reading about calming signals and dog behaviour. Oh, another thing you can do to prepare for your puppy coming home is go for a walk at the time and in the place when you're going to be walking your puppy, and, observe the behaviour of the dogs there. If you find a nice one, just say hello and talk to the owner a bit. Say, what a lovely dog, I'm getting a puppy soon, and is your dog okay with puppies? So when I come in here with my puppy off the lead and I see you and your dog, I don't need to worry. And so generally speaking, dogs have an inbuilt taboo against harming a puppy. So a dog will tell your puppy off if it's being disrespectful. And that's okay, and as it should be. The other dogs will be teaching your dog some manners. And something clearly Sadie's not really capable of doing, but luckily I've got Roo for that. Hello, Rolo. Hello, Rolo. I like the way the minute I touch him, he's going, oh, pay attention to you. There are going to be times, possibly, depending on what sort of person you are, where you get really angry with your dog. My suggestion is walk away. Never ever work with an animal when you're unduly emotional, whether it's angry or sad. If you're sad, cuddle up, but don't try and train your dog or teach your dog something when you're angry with it. Because believe me, they know. I don't care how much you try and hide it. If you're emotional, stop training and go and do something else until you're calm. Rethink the situation and try again. Hello, Rolo, you little cutie. Hello, George. And I've got these two because the others have taken themselves into the crate and fallen asleep. But you'll also find, your puppy might just fall asleep right there. And then, that's fine, as long as you're in the same room. Because if the puppy isn't in a crate or a playpen, it'll wake up, wander around, wee on your floor, and then come and talk to you. So the crate or playpen is simply to make sure that when the puppy wakes up, the first thing it does isn't wandering around and look for the toilet. You want to make sure he's wandering around looking for the toilet outside. But again, at this stage, they've probably got about 30 seconds between knowing they need to wee and actually weeing. So I'm not, if they have little wee accidents in the house, I'm not too bothered. But by the time they get home, they should be able to hold it for longer. Oh, George, you're such a sweetie. And you can see his ears are nice and clean. I'm checking his ears. Yep, nice and clean. And a little foot massage. Good boy. Good boy. I love my puppies, they're so cute.